I have a countertop here that I have to repair. We don't do too many repairs. This one we did for a kitchen and bath dealer. They do cabinets. Normally they make their own cabinets, and we'll do their countertops. This one the customer just ordered a countertop. They had built-in cabinets, plywood tops, plywood bottoms with the hole cut out. And according to our print, right where this one is, which you'll get a better look in a few minutes. So we made the top according to their print, went, installed it, bowl fit good, put splashes on, everything was good. Next day we got a call from the kitchen bath dealer who said they received a call from the contractor that the bowl was supposed to be in the middle of the countertop. Apparently they were never told, we were never told, so this needs to be repaired. We were a little short on material to begin with, so I'm not going to have much to work with. I'm going to have to put the bowl in the center, cutting and moving the material that I have, and maybe adding on a few scrap strips to make up for it at the end. We don't do too many repairs. I figured I'd make a video of it. I'm going to give you a better look at this countertop. I don't think I made a video for this countertop, but all I need to do is make the bowl in the middle. So first thing I want to do is find the middle, figure out where the bowl needs to go. So we're at 90 1/4. So the bowl needs to be at 45 1/8 for the center of the bowl. That's what I'm looking for. Now that's where the center of the bowl needs to be. So I need to figure out how much I need to cut off of this side to add on to this side. So if that's the center, which is 45 1/8, the bowl has to be 45 1/8. Right now it's about 20 1/2. Is the center of the bowl. So I want it to be 45 1/8 from this side and 45 1/8 from this side. So I can measure 45 1/8 from this current center. And that's where I want the end of the countertop to be. So that's where it'll cut. That'll be the end. I can take the rest and shift it over here, which we're actually at 20 5/8. And we want to go to 45 1/8. 24 and a half, and we have exactly 24 and a half. After we cut it here, we're going to be losing about an 1/8 inch for the blade, and then when we shift it over, I'm going to have to clean up the seams in order to glue it together, and we'll be losing more material. All I have are a few strips, maybe 3/4 inch strips, which I can add on to each end if needed, or even onto just one end. But for now, I'll cut this here, not here. And this will be 45 1/8 from the wall. I'll do that with a saw. This will get glued up here. Making both sides 45 1/8 approximately. This side should be good. This side I'm going to have to run the seam with a router, taking a little bit off, and then I'll have to add on over here to keep it centered. This side here I may... Normally we do a stop route where we stop the profile so it's square for the splash to finish even with the front. Because I just cut that off, there's no longer a stop route here. So I may do a little repair, fill in a little piece here so that I can put a stop route back on there. So the splash finishes to the end of the countertop. But for now, I'll grab a chisel and clean some of the silicone off. Now, even though this was all sanded and installed, I'm going to have to resand the whole thing again anyway, so I'm not too worried about scratches here when I'm taking off the silicone. After I run the seam, I'm going to have to resand it and clean all the silicone off anyway. Now when you're doing a repair like this, an important factor to take into account is your levelness. When you make the countertop, you can level the sheet and then build it up with the edging. Because the edging's already on it, it's all together. When I glue this together, I want to make sure it's perfectly flat and level and not kicked up or down, because that'll throw off my seam and it won't fix after this countertop is in place. So it's got to be flat and level before it gets glued up. I'm going to readjust some of these benches. I want to make sure I have a nice gap in here for running the seam. I am going to be putting the front and the back boards across them. Make sure everything's flat and level. Now these boards are running across so that I can clamp the two pieces together so they are one piece. So I can run the router down the middle, creating a mirror profile, so it glues together perfect. These are not going to level it. They will help, but I will still have to throw my level up there, make sure we're flat and where we need to be before doing the seam. Now, even though I always use the same routers for running mirror routes, I always like to double check and make sure I'm setting up in the right position. I'm just using a little Porter cable. I believe it's 2.5 horsepower, 2.25 horsepower. Not real powerful, but works fine for running seams. Normally when I do deck seams, it's only a 1/2 inch thick. It's already set for that. Full countertops are 1.5 inches, which this bit cannot do. But because these are a little bit narrower, they're only 1 inch, I'll be able to use the same bit and just make sure I set the depth so I'm not cutting into my 2x4s too much, because I don't want to make it too hard to cut. I want to be able to go through fairly easy so it's nice and smooth. You can use a larger router. You'll have less chatter on there. It'll be a little bit smoother. Just I always keep this router set up with this bit. You usually just have to do mirror routes for deck seams. If I'm doing something for a field seam, I'll use one of the larger routers. But I'm only going to take off a little bit, hopefully, so I don't have to add on too much. When I do this, I want to make sure it's straight. So that when I glue it up, it's not crooked also, because I can't take too much off the front or the back because it's already this size. So right there is straight. Now I need to separate for my distance of the router. I'm just using a 1/2 inch bit. I'm going to try and leave a 1/4 inch gap, take an 1/8 inch off of each side. Hopefully one pass, make it nice and smooth. I am going to have to clean more of the silicone off so I can run it a little bit smoother. But after I'm set up, I'll probably hit that with the belt sander, clean it all off. I wanted to put the seam together and make sure that was good before I went ahead and did anything else to this countertop. If I had to cut this apart because there was a line or it didn't look good and re-put it back together, it's going to be even shorter, so I would have had to add more on the ends. So I want to make sure this was good before I added on to the ends or got it to size or did any final sanding. I hit this with the belt sander just to get the glue off. I hit it with a palm sander just so I can see the seam, and I think it's going to look awesome. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get it to size, take a little off the ends, and do some finish sanding, clean all the silicone off, and get it all finalized.